What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's is a model for you and your grandkids. If it's fun, it's fair game. But lately, hip pain has you grimacing more than laughing. And that's the moment you realize life's too short to put off treatment any longer.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with hundreds of joint replacements each year. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better. The Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 543, Shay's Weight Loss Journey, weekly updates.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started. What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine. Shay is back. What up?
Hey, girl.
So it sounds like you're having just an awesome week.
Yeah, I've had the best week, man. Never been better.
Oh, man, there's just no sarcasm at all in that comment.
No, not at all.
Well,
yeah,
I know, like, mental health-wise, I think we've all been having a week. We've all been having a year. But, like, I know that, how about your, like, physical health? How have you been doing as far as, like, diet and exercise goes?
Exercise has been okay. I've done, pretty much what I normally would, which is going to see Josh twice a week and then going to Planet Fitness twice a week. But diet has been really hard this week. I've wanted to binge more this week than I have like an entire year. So it's been rough. Yeah. So I've just wanted to like do so much emotional eating. And it's like I've just felt very defeated this week. So
I'm sorry.
It's okay. So I'm just trying to get like kind of reset my mindset because it has been not good this week. So
yeah. Well, I'm obviously not an expert, but I also battle the same demons as you do. And I feel like for me, the best thing is just to kind of like let it go and kind of let it run its course a minute, as long as it doesn't just become like week after week. But it's like, if I have a couple days, I'm like, well, I'm just going to live this and let it go instead of just try to like do like these like half binges, you know what I mean? Of like this, like, we'll stop. And then if it just like, and then it just becomes that, I'm like, just let it go. Just let it go. Get it out of my system. Kind of just like, oh, I'm craving hot dogs. Just eat a damn hot dog so I don't just eat hot dogs for 2 weeks a month from now, because I like stop myself from it. But that's just me. Everybody operates differently. So I don't know if that feels good for you or not, just to kind of be like, whatever, I'm going to eat the cookie cake.
Well, no, it does. Otherwise I feel like I go crazy like later on. So
yeah.
So
I take it that you probably have not stepped on the scale this week.
No, because I've just been like struggling with being kind to myself. So I was like, if I step on the scale, I know I'm not going to be nice to myself. So that's been the biggest thing, that I like have to kind of like start being nicer to myself and remember that I did this to love myself and not as some form of like punishment. So yeah. I
mean, it's a freaking struggle though. Like, it's just, I think I'm so glad that you are open to share that, because I just think that's so important, is like to know that, I mean, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have bad weeks, you're going to have bad months. I mean, it's just life, and we're in the middle of this freaking pandemic. And for you and me specifically, being in the state of Ohio, that's not doing so great right now. And just kind of the anxiety that goes along with that, of like what's going to happen. We kind of had, a threat this week of going into lockdown again. And it's like, whoa. And I feel like for me, I actually weighed myself this week, which is, I think, probably the first time in 2020 that I weighed myself. And it actually, I wasn't happy with the number, but I actually felt good about it, because I'm like, through all of this, for me, like doing a life change, quitting my job, going through a lot of legal crap and everything else that I went through, going through a pandemic, making a huge shift and being where I'm at now, I'm like, if I gain some weight from eating through all this, I'm like, because that's what made me comfortable, and I'm still like okay with that number. Like, my God, did I win? Like, if that's what I just needed to get through this, is I needed to, you know, get drunk a few times and eat some pizzas, and that's, you know, got me through this crazy, insane time, then I can't feel bad about that. And that's what I just feel like for you too, of like, we're all going through the hardest thing, especially with you and your job being a hairstylist and not know if you're going to close down, and then being in people's faces all day. If like you need some time to just eat to feel comfortable, although it's a bad habit, if that's going to get you through it, then you got to do what you got to do to get through it, you know?
Right. Exactly. And it's hard. Like you and I had talked about how we're having a hard time finding things that like bring us joy. And I think that's one of the hardest things, is like, sometimes food is what makes me happy. Yeah. So then it's like, then I'm like, okay, if it makes me happy, then why should I not eat this? So it's just a hard like balance.
Yeah, it's just such a like battle. And I think that's what's scary about the times we're in right now too, is like just every day things change and shift so much that it's my thought process towards food and everything changes every day, because it goes, especially right now, because everything goes between, oh my God, you know, bunker in, plan for the future, let's be super careful, to like, YOLO, if I'm gonna die tomorrow, I want to live my life, give me an ice cream cake, and like, let's get drunk and like whatever. And so it's just like this hard swing of like, that I'm trying to be like, no, just find yourself in the middle. And it's just like, it's bonkers. I had someone write me yesterday saying that they were doing so good on their weight loss journey, and then COVID hit, and they're just kind of like, oh my God, I'm struggling. I'm like, it's not just you.
No, it's everybody.
Yeah. And then I see people like on TikTok that are like, hey, this is what I weighed at the beginning of the year, and look at me now. And I'm like, dude, that's freaking awesome. But then also at the same time, like, we all need to know that that's not all of us. Some of us are like thriving and finding that through this, and some of us are skidding off into space. And like, it's,
I know.
everything is, it's fine. There's no right or wrong way of how you deal with this, of like whether you've kicked things into gear or you've taken things back a few steps. It's just like, it's a weird world to freaking navigate.
I know. Because I'm over here like, if the world's ending, I'm gonna eat some tacos. But
right?
I don't know what's happening.
Right.
So
I feel like I've so far this week I've not been that way. I've weighed myself every day this week, and I feel like that's giving me. This is where the scale is so bad. Sometimes, like you said, this week for you, the scale is bad for your mental health, and I've been there a lot. But for me this week, the scale's good for my mental health. It's like showing how I can make progress, and it's giving me a good idea of creating new goals for myself, and it's put me in a good place. Next week, it could be completely flipped around. And I think the important part is, like, I think what you're doing is exactly right, is just going with the flow and feeling it out, of like, last week was a good week for you to weigh in, and you were really excited about your weigh in and feeling good. And this week it's like, nope. And then next week is going to be what it is. And I think it's just like not trying to hard cram, like, no, but I have to do this. I think that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because then it's almost like I end up like spiraling if I'm already in a bad place, and then I get on the scale and then I beat myself up for that, then I'm just going to continue to want to eat bad to like, cope with those emotions. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I will. I have discovered for me this week too. I'm happy and sad at the same time that I've kept I'm so bad at documenting things, especially like progress pictures. Yeah. But I'm good with my Fitness Pal. And so I went back even like 3 years ago of like, what was I eating? Like, what was going on in July of 2017? And so I was doing that a lot yesterday, of like, I was just curious about like what I was doing, what I was eating, look from day to day, exactly what I was doing, because I change things so much all the time. And so I'm happy about that. And then I was looking through my scale history, because I have a digital scale, and I have an app for all of that. But anytime that I would have like an up day, I wouldn't record it. I would just only record the downs. And so I'm like, I wish I'm like, what, like, because of my mental health, of like, I don't want to, oh, I hit this lower number. I don't want it to jump back up again. And so I'm like, I need to reconfigure the doing that moving forward of like, no, I need to count the times that I was up too. Because looking back, hopefully I'm around in 2022 that I can look what I did now of like, look how the fluctuations happen. And it gives me, I think it's more comforting than to just look back and only see the downs. Then I feel like, then you feel like a piece of trash when you do have ups, if you just ignored those. Just like I feel like having the perfectly posed Instagram picture and only keeping pictures of yourself where you've contorted yourself to look as skinny as possible. And then when you look back on those pictures, guilty of this too, of like, oh my God, I'm just so skinny and whatever. Like, yeah, but that wasn't like, you're comparing yourself to just standing in front of the bathroom mirror to like how you posed to look for an Instagram photo because you had a bikini top on. Yep. And so it's like you give your own, it's like you not only can get twisted with other people's realities, you can get twisted with your own version of reality. I don't know. Does that hit any bells for you at all? Or is that a me thing?
No, it does. And what you were saying about like not recording the ups is like, it's so normal as a human to have fluctuations. We're not constantly going to be like going down. So like, that's not really even possible. So I think it is like almost comforting to know, like, even if you have, a week where you go up a little bit, it comes back down. So I think that's why it's important to be able to look at that. It's because then, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go up forever now, because that's not the reality.
Yeah. Well, for me, like, I know I had days I went up and I lived through those and I know that.
Right.
But like the fact that I only did a manual entry into this app when I was down, I'm like, I wish I'd see a clearer vision of that instead of like just writing history the way that I wanted it to go, of just the down. And then even being at my very lowest, and then you're just like the weight fluctuations I had from my very lowest of like, I didn't record any of that. Like it was just like a ghost town on my app for my scale for like a couple months, because it either just hovered there or went up like 5 pounds and came down, like it just normal human fluctuations. And I just like I'm not going to record this until it's below the number I want. And I'm like, that's not healthy either. So it's interesting to see, like, just again, like I track that as progress now. And I take that, even though it is a scale thing, as a non-scale victory, to be at the point now where I can go back and look at previous versions of myself that are even just like a year ago and be like, well, maybe this is a better way to move forward in a healthier relationship to have with the scale. And it's just like, it's just changes all the freaking time. Like how we deal with everything is just day to day, even though if you don't notice it. But going back and looking what I was doing in 2017, like some of those days I'm like, damn, like, God, weren't you hungry, girl?
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh.
And I had a real...
Like I was eating nothing.
I wasn't eating nothing, but it was like just because I wasn't showing my meal prep Sunday at that point. And if you just, like, I'm just a weirdo and will prefer to eat really plain and boring. And so like, I'm happy eating the same things all the time, but I'm happy to eat the same things for like months on end. Like,
I can't do that.
I will say that is a blessing for me that I'm happy to do that. Like I can just do the plain old chicken and broccoli, and I can do turkey and asparagus, and I can have those mismatch between lunch and dinners for like a month and not be upset about it. And so like, that's just kind of what I look back and did, where I'm like, I just ate the same exact things every day. And then like my snacks kind of varied up a little bit, but not too much. But what I do now is but I'm glad for having Meal Prep Sunday that I do on Instagram, because it forces me to be creative and come up with better ideas and to eat differently. And I think that's important for me, because cool with eating chicken and broccoli for a month, but I don't know if I'm cool to do that till I die. So I don't know.
I couldn't even do it for a month.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to eat paper as a kid, so I'm like, I don't know. I guess.
Oh my God,
dude, I would get in trouble because I would sneak behind the couch and eat sheets of paper.
Are you kidding?
No.
Oh my God.
Oh, weird person, man.
You get weirder all the time, man. Like, I'm like, wow, she's weird. And then you tell me stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, dude.
I thought I was weird as a kid. I was not eating paper.
Oh my God. Oh man. No, the list goes on and on about how weird I am. But that's why I feel like I'm like, yeah, I just like plain oatmeal. I'm like, well, I'll eat plain paper. I'll eat plain oatmeal. But like that was when I was really little. I mean, when I was just like more like a teenager, that's when I would literally eat. I mean, oh my gosh, just eat garbage. Like I would just eat like a whole box of like make a whole thing that's supposed to be for a family, like the boxed au gratin potatoes. And then I would just eat that. And then eat like a whole can of chili with a whole can or a whole bag of shredded cheese in it and like a half a container of sour cream. And like,
oh my God.
that would be like breakfast.
Oh my God.
And like, yeah,
that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
And so, I mean, I ate a lot of like just trash food, but the paper thing, and oh my God, I'm sure the list goes on and on. And then, I can't remember if tell me if I've told you this story before. I know I told this story on the radio, but I can't remember if I've talked to you about this on this podcast. I might have told Josh that, again, so many issues with food. Like there's a million reasons why I'm such a damaged person, but like I used to like, stop me if I told you this, that I used to skid mark my underwear all the time as a kid. And so my mom's plan to get me to stop skid marking my underwear was she had a basket that I couldn't reach full of like the little Reese's cups. And so anytime that I didn't, put some bacon burns in my underwear, she would give me a Reese's cup. And so I was like a dog getting a treat of like, good job not pooping yourself. Enjoy some chocolate and peanut butter.
Oh my God. How old were you when that was happening?
When that happened, I was that was probably like around third grade. That was like third grade.
Okay, I'm glad it was that. I was worried you were going to say older than that.
It was a junior.
Like, yeah. I was 13 and I was still crap in my pants.
Well, I didn't full on crap. I have full on crap my pants as an adult though. Like I fully like loaded my pants from drinking too strong of a coffee and going on a long walk. Oh, I didn't tell you that story. I was 30. I was that when I was old. Like we were living in Denver. And we went for a really long walk and I got a really strong coffee and there was just no bathroom. Oh, somehow living in Denver, the whole walk back, there was not one damn 7-Eleven or anything. And it was one of those things where your stomach is rumbling and where you have to like stop every once in a while and you're like, you just got to like brace yourself for a second. And like we lived in this apartment that was we were on the third floor. And there's like, it was a really old house. So there's like, you had to go up the floor. So like I made it, I walked miles, finally made it home, made up the first set of stairs, going up the second set of stairs. My brain was just like, you home girl, let it go. And so I was just like, oh no. And the worst part is I wish I was making this all up and I'm not, that when I got inside that we had to rush home because we had to meet the cable guy. No. And so I'm in the bathroom cleaning out my blowout. And the cable guy comes over and like I'm cleaning myself up. I come out and I like was crying and like hugging my husband and I'm like, oh my God, I'm 30 years old and I grew out my pants and oh my God. And he's just like, this is marriage. This is what marriage is, I guess. Yeah,
oh my God.
That had nothing to do with like a reward system for like not getting skid marks. But yeah, I've totally like pooped my pants as an adult. So
well, I'm glad that your husband isn't giving you Reese cups now when you don't shit your pants.
He doesn't check my underwear for skid marks, to be fair.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
that's amazing.
I don't remember how long that went on for though. Like I don't think that went on very long. Like we lived in a duplex at that time and it didn't go on once we moved out of there. And I think we only lived there for like a year. So I don't think that was too long. But we would go to my grandma's house after school and she would like cook us dinner. And if we didn't clean our plate, we got paddled.
Oh my God.
See, this is why I'm so weird.
It's all becoming so clear to me.
Right? Like, yeah. So like
Like you should actually, you're more normal than like you should be.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So like that didn't happen often, but like the whole thing was if you don't clean your plate, you don't get ice cream. And then I would make the argument of like, I'm not hungry. I don't want ice cream. But then you'd get paddled if you didn't clean your plate. And it was always butter pecan ice cream. So I don't really enjoy butter pecan ice cream.
Ew.
Yeah, so it was like, and then my grandma too would just like cooks like any vegetable would come out of a can and be cooked in bacon grease. She would just save
Ew.
jars of bacon grease to like cook all of her food in and put mashed potatoes and stuff. I mean, her mashed potatoes were bomb. They were like straight up like neon yellow with butter, but like, yeah, like I didn't understand health or food or anything at all. The only taste of, pun intended, of knowing anything about nutrition or food or portion sizes wasn't until I did my first insane diet, which was LA weight loss. And I was 22 or 23 was the first time I knew, just like even understood anything about any sort of healthy eating. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to turn like your podcast into my podcast here.
Yeah, come on. This is my episode.
Yeah, right? Oh, let's talk about how whacked I am.
I mean, your life's a little more interesting than mine. I did not wait until my 20s because I was like 13 and trying to diet, but
yeah, what was the first diet you ever did?
I don't remember, but I remember being like young and like trying to lose weight. So I feel like I like did calorie counting before I did anything else, but I remember I was pretty young, like when I did curves with my mom, but that was exercise, not really nutrition. And then I know I did Weight Watchers in high school, like a couple times. So,
yeah, I know a lot of people that did Weight Watchers as a kid.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I know before I did any sort of like diet like that, I definitely tried calorie counting.
Oh man, that's just, did anybody in your family do that or did you just pick that up on your own?
No, I don't really remember anybody else doing that. So I just felt really bad about myself. So I was like, this should work.
Man. Yeah, I mean, for me, like I hated myself, but I didn't know anything about calories or anything. And plus, I mean, I'm older than you, so I didn't have the internet as available to me. I mean, I wasn't hitting AOL chat rooms until like I was close to getting out of high school. Like that's whenever I actually just like really had the internet. And then, just hitting up Napster when I was in college. And so
I had AOL when I was like 12. So
yeah, well, I was probably not far from that age, but it was like the invention of AOL. Like it was like AOL just came out. So I didn't really know anything about that stuff and my family didn't care. But like I would just think of like, oh, I know I'm supposed to eat salads, but then I would put almost a whole thing of like Hidden Valley Ranch on like a bag of salad and think that was healthy. So calories weren't even a concept to me. Even when I did LA weight loss, their thing wasn't calories. It was just follow what we tell you to eat. Like it was, I have to find where I put that diary, but it was like you fill out little holes every day of like you ate your vegetables, but then you would go in a cheat sheet and be like, you could have 7 baby carrots. It wasn't like have this many calories or weigh it. It was like, you can have 7 of these. Or you can have like 1 chicken breast, or you could have, I can't remember what it was, like 6 wheat thins or whatever the crazy weird little things were, but it wasn't understanding like what your food is made out of. So, but I mean, do you feel like that was helpful or harmful to you to learn that stuff and try dieting that young, or do you wish that it would have been different?
I don't feel like it was great because I feel like early on it caused me to like restrict too much and then binge. Like I feel like I started restricting and binging really young. And it's interesting that you brought up the internet because I feel like for sure, like as a young person, like I could find out anything on the internet, and there's a lot of like harmful things that you can like read that work. and they do work, but they're not great for your body. So
yeah, like doing like a master cleanse sort of thing. Oh my
yeah.
God.
I mean,
Speaking of, oh my God. So I'll have to put a link to this or something in the show notes. I'll send it to you. I saw a thing on TikTok where their diet for the week was to cook a ton of ground beef and tons of butter. And then that's all they eat all week is ground beef and butter.
okay, that makes me want to puke.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, I love butter. Love me some butter. But like, that's all you're like, and it's like, it was some weight loss thing. I meant to send it to you. And I'm like, this is whacked. And like, people are doing stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, imagine if I was 12 and I saw that. I'd be like, I could figure that out. Oh my God, that would be so harmful for you.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, and then you can read about like, I mean, there are tons of things where you could see girls would post like, oh, I'm only eating 800 calories a day and I lost this much weight. So then you're like, cool, I'm going to try that. And it's just like that kind of stuff where that's basically like an eating disorder that people are just like, sharing on the internet for, yeah. It's crazy.
So that's where it's like, it's good and bad, but it's like you need somebody to help you navigate what's real and what's BS. And there's so many things that I automatically assume at this point, just because I've been doing this for so long, like everybody knows that's crap until you like dig into it, like, oh no, people are really thinking that's a healthy thing to do. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like the beef and butter, like that's
horrible.
That's all. First off, weight loss aside, that just sounds painful. Like not even just talk about health benefits or fat or anything of like, that just does not sound appealing. It's as a person who just minutes ago said that I could eat chicken and broccoli for months straight, just eating beef and butter for like every meal. That doesn't even, how do you not see losing weight as a punishment if you're doing crap like that?
I would rather not eat than eat that.
Right? I would too. I'd rather fast. I mean, I do love butter though. I think I might try it once. I do, man. I'm not going to go to Iowa just for this, but at the Iowa State Fair, I mean, minus 2020 has deep fried butter, and I do want to try that.
Oh my God.
Dude, that sounds good.
I remember the first time that I measured butter and I was like, oh, damn, this is sad.
I know.
I used to do like one serving of butter on like each thing I would eat. And oh God. It's like if I was eating muffins, you'd put a serving of butter on each muffin.
Oh my God, that sounds so good.
I know.
Also, unpopular opinion. Now, this isn't super unhealthy, but like put butter on a Pop-Tart.
What?
Like the brown sugar cinnamon one, you toast that bad boy, melt some butter on it. Oh, yeah.
I would never have thought to do that.
Oh, it's the unhealthiest thing you could do.
But
super unhealthy.
You're just a butter genius.
Dude, I love me some. I have like the first week, I think it was the first week that I started my radio job in Oregon before I came to Cincinnati. I ate a full stick of butter on the air, but like a big one, they don't like the Tillamook, like huge butter stick. I ate one on the air. And it wasn't that bad. I mean, the taste wise, like I'm cool with, but the bathroom later the day was not, that was unpleasant. But yeah, I was just like, I would say like, I would eat a whole stick of butter. And my co-host Dan at the time was like, prove it. I'm like, okay.
That's awful.
Will do. Here we go. Munch, munch.
Oh my God.
And I had already lost like 60 something pounds at that point. So like, this wasn't even like, this was like me on a weight loss journey.
Sure, I'll eat a stick of butter.
I'll do it. Whatever. You want to dare me? God. I'm up for a dare.
Yep. You were like, watch me, son.
Yeah, right? No skid marks in these underwear. I earned this stick of butter.
That's right. Oh my God.
Well, on that note, I hope that you have a better week this week. And I know you got to get to the gym and work out with Josh right now, but we'll see what's going on next week and see how the world's on fire a week from now.
I know. See if we've burned to the ground yet.
Right? Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Wait, it's not over yet. I got stuff I want to tell you about. There is so much going on right now on my website, AmandaValentineBites.com, including all the information about my health coaching. So if you're looking for an accountability partner, somebody to help you with your food, your mindset, get all the details at AmandaValentineBites.com. Also, if you're interested in trying some meal prepping or some recipes, my meal prep cookbook is available, 16 recipes, all with full-length videos showing you how to make the food. Also, if you're looking to make your food a little bit more tasty, my Amanda Valentine Bites Frying Pig Bite This Bagel seasoning, which is delicious on literally everything. Also, my Amanda Valentine Bites Coffee Emporium coffee. If you're looking for a pre-workout without all of the crazy chemicals, then you got your coffee. Get all the details on all of those things right now at AmandaValentineBites.com.